Hello and welcome back. And as promised, this is the time for our first talk show. Our first talk show. All right, Donald Trump was sworn in as the 47th U.S. president on Monday and promised a revolution of common sense as Republicans assume unified control of Washington to reshape the country's institutions.
He said that he will be a peacemaker and unifier before laying out some of the plans for his agenda in the next 4 years.
Donald Trump highlighted peace efforts between Israel and Hamas and declared his aim to be a peacemaker in his presidential inauguration speech. He also mentioned of the ongoing peace effort, ceasefire and hostage prisoner exchange between Israel and Hamas after he was sworn in as the 47th President of the United States.
My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier. I'm pleased to say that as of yesterday, one day before I assumed office, the hostages in the Middle East are coming back home to their families.
He emphasized that the nation will once again inspire awe and admiration around the globe. This was met with applause, including from former President Joe Biden. Additionally, Trump highlighted the recent release of hostages in the Middle East after 15 months of anxiety and grief. Previously, President Trump said that ceasefire in Gaza and the prisoner exchange agreement between Israel and Hamas must be maintained. He warned that the chaos might ensue should the agreement fails. Trump also emphasized the importance of the United States to regain global respect, which he believes is the key to maintaining the sustainability of the agreement.
Yes, it is official, and the President Trump is expected to bring significant global changes as he aims to focus on being a peacemaker and unifier. His goals might bring changes to U.S. foreign policy, trade, and international relations.
And of course, to discuss the shifting dynamics and what they mean for the future, we're joined today by Padjajaran University international relations experts. It is always a common guest right here on the C Morning Show, Bapak Teuku Rezasyah. Bapak Reza, it's always an honor to have you here.
Welcome back, sir.
Exactly, especially at...
I'm honored to come from Bandung.
Of course. Hatur nuhun, Pak Reza.
I'm honored.
Pak Reza, and also Tommy, if we see right here where the producers put a very smiling president, this is not the official photo of President Donald Trump because his photo right now is very different. It's very apprentice. Just jokes aside, Pak Reza. So we will have a very swiftly discussion in regards to this. But we know that now overall, we've already seen the sworn in of Donald J. Trump as the President of the United States. He becomes the 47th President of the nation itself. In regards to that, though, we see the assessment of significance. Now, we want to know from your point of view, your 2 cents, when Donald J. Trump now becomes the President. Well, I have 2 questions here. What is it going to bring for the Americans? Because we know his political move is more inwards as opposed to outwards. It's always been MAGA, make America great again. And what will also make significance to the global situation that is happening right now throughout the world?
Thank you. Last night, Indonesia time, the world attention was on Donald Trump.
Yeah.
The real leader of the U.S., someone with full confidence, representing the superpower of the world. Yeah. So when superpower speaks, the world listen. Well, he was so convincing. Theoretically, foreign policy begins at home. He wanted to restructure domestic. He wanted to unify the government and the people, regardless of their culture and background. And also with him was the tycoons and also the entrepreneurs, the top businessmen, people from Apple, people from Google, people from Tesla. They were there.
And TikTok as well.
Correct. It means TikTok was there. It means they have been producing and they are strengthening their American intercooperated, isn't it? Oh, American is one, and then they focus on the future, the satellite. So Elon Musk was very happy last night. He can imagine a coalition with the American government how to reach Mars someday.
Correct.
And then the world is waiting what he will do, because last night he didn't talk in detail. Yeah? He talked about Middle East a bit, but he talked also the U.S. position as the unifier, something. And then he also talked about strengthening the border and then to make sure that the criminals are not coming to the U.S. And then it was a very quite long, longer than his earlier speech about 4 years ago. But anyway, when Donald Trump speaks, the world listen because he really meant what he had in mind. He's a very consistent person.
Yes, and sometimes what he says is always making it into a headline news, such as one of which were executive orders that he wants to change the name of Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. This is something that is very unheard of before, because that is the name of a history. But we shall see if this executive order will go into realization by Donald Trump.
And as mentioned, how do you see Trump stepping into that role as a unifier and a peacemaker?
A combination of unifier and peacemaker can only be done by a country which is a superpower. But if we see in detail, when it comes to peace in Middle East, the United States of America is the part of the problem and also part of the solution at the same time.
Yes.
So that's why, well, he supplied Israel with massive armaments from the American military-industrial complex, 24 hours per day, around the clock. And at the same time, he controls the United Nations through the United Nations Security Council, with his veto, he can determine where the world should go. So this is, I know it is very difficult to balance, but in order to unify, well, China has been doing this. China has identified there are about 14 to 16 groups inside the anti-Israeli movement in the Middle East. And in this case, of course, when it comes to political groups, they have their own vision, mission, objective, strategies, and so on. And also members anywhere. And you mentioned unifier and also
peacemaker.
Peacemaker. I don't know if America can become a peacemaker because the world knows the role of the Americans. Oftenly, there are excellent ideas for peace, but the ideas stopped at the United Nations Security Council when America said, I veto this. So oftenly the world has to work from the bottom again. We call it from a bottom-up approach, and at the end from the top-down approach. Americans say, no, you need to revise this, you need to revise that. Yeah. So oftenly the United Nations Security Council's resolution oftenly half go, half through. But at the end, we need to work very hard to empower this United Nations Security Council.
Right, and of course, as you mentioned before, that we have to acknowledge that America is still one of the superpower countries. Yes. But regardless, how powerful are they? Because with Biden and Blinken throughout the conflict in Gaza for 15 months, it took them into a toll for them to reach into a ceasefire deal. Now the ceasefire deal is apprehended, is in the hands right now. And of course they wanted, especially the U.S. wanted the swapping between hostages between Hamas and also Israel. But U.S. demanded that you both listen to us, listen to U.S., respect us and respect our rules and regulation. And in regards to that though, how do you see the challenges that Donald Trump and his administrative that they need to go through, because this ceasefire is on the deal right now, but we don't know how, the withhold stance of this ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas.
I think everybody in the Middle East, they're having a fatigue at the moment, they're tired, because also the world begins to differentiate Judaism and Zionism. And the world begin to see that the prolongation of the war is not good for everybody, and the world begins to see that America and Israel will be asked by the future, are you the part of the problem or are you part of the solution?
Right.
And in this case, Americans are aware that, to be honest, Trump is different than Joe Biden. Biden is a bit more conservative when it comes to peace, but Trump is so definite. He can see things black and white. And in this case, earlier on he said, when I was not in politics, you witnessed the 7th of October 2023 happened. And then Russia invaded Ukraine. It didn't happen during my time. So now I would like to resettle the surface. So we hope he can do it, because he really realized that it is the American who can determine the end of the war. Because he said that the war, well, the climate improved even before I became the president. And also Biden said the same thing. So both of them are competing. Who ends this kind of conflict?
That's right, yes.
All right, and also he said that he's working to find a permanent solution in terms of for the residents of Gaza. So one of which is potentially relocating the 2 million Palestinians to a number of countries, including this country, Indonesia. So what should Indonesia do if we get this offer?
I think this is not the policy of the American government. It is the statement issued by Trump's campaign staff.
Yeah.
And when I checked the media, the first information about this came from the Haaretz newspaper in Israel. And then Indonesian Ministry of Foreign Affairs said they had no knowledge about this. So let's listen, because at the moment there is a war of information, isn't it? There is information, there is disinformation, and we would like to know what really happened. I think Indonesia, we have problems with the Rohingya people. It is very difficult to settle them here and make them come back to their place of origin. And with regard to the people from the Palestine, they have been experiencing war in such a way, displacing people, and then lack of security. There is a feeling of helplessness, and then there is a long trauma. I think they were born in the Middle East. I think why didn't Trump think for the relocation goes to the Middle East?
Yeah.
And also Trump and Israel were the one who destroyed this civilization. I think they should be the one who be responsible, not to ask others to be responsible. We can help as long as there is a corridor, isn't it? Indonesia, along with other 7 countries inside the Organization of Islamic Conference, we had a conference about sometime in November 2023. We received a mandate here to find the solution and to utilize all the resources of the OIC members. Well, in this case, we need to be selective. For example, who are coming to Indonesia, but it should be under the guidance of the United Nations, not just we are following the instruction of Donald Trump or his associates. No, the legal platform must be clear. For example, it is easier for us to have students who have problems with their education, students who have problems with their curriculum, their examination, students who are about to have degree. Okay, in this case, we could organize what you call a joint degrees between the government of Indonesia and then the UN and the authorities in the Palestine. This is among others. As also students who are having problems with research. For example, they have problems with medicine, problems with biodiversity, a problem of biodiversity. If they focus on this, they can come to Indonesia. So we could do it. But when it comes to children should be accompanied by their parents, by their mother.
Yeah.
So we do not want to make more problems here, yeah, because we had experience with the Rohingya, and then you also have problems in the past with the people coming from the crisis in Southeast Asia. So maybe Donald Trump's team see Indonesia has a capacity, okay, but we need to decide under the presidential authorities how to respond in case this policy is the right one coming from the White House.
That's right, because Indonesia has been very vocal, especially in pushing forward in the ceasefire in Palestine, and also having a sovereignty for the Palestinian state. But in regards to that, you were very correct that this is our nation, so we are the one that has the rules and the regulations, the laws in regards to that. Going back to Donald Trump right now, Bapak Reza, in your perspective, what are the most pressing issues the world the global community will highlights, especially during his reign as a president? We remember in 2016, everything was going well, but by the end of his reign, I think he plummeted because COVID happened.
Yes,
and he cannot encounter, and he diplomatically definitely cannot encounter what is happening in the States and also throughout the world when COVID happened. And then after that, he was dismantled from his presidency, goes to Joe Biden, and now he's coming back again with a lot on his plate. There's a lot of conflicts in the world, and of course, natural disaster that is happening in his own country, especially in California. when President Trump doesn't believe in climate change. So in regards to that, there are so many challenges that he will face. How do you think the community will be ready to see the movement that he will make and also the choices he will make?
If we see Donald Trump's smile, it is an honest smile, isn't it? So people can see there are a lot of positive sides inside the U.S. which yet to be utilized by Donald Trump. Among others, America is the superpower with the best education, best research and development, best technology, and also the best capacity to integrate industries with state-owned enterprises, with the government's initiative. But it is Trump. I think the COVID had affected America and also affected the world, but we can expect, recognizing American superiority in non-military affairs, we can expect Donald Trump to pay more attention on SDGs. This is a very neutral ways to win the heart and mind of the people. And then at the same time, he also needs to acknowledge that American has problems. American has own problems. The lowering of the American security system, domestic security is lowering. Crime and violence is increasing in the U.S. And then the head-to-head with China has really affected America. And then recently, they are facing the fact that they owe China a lot, more than $500 billion US. And then they are also aware of the possible danger coming from the rise of BRICS, even though we are thinking that BRICS is just an economic and political greater association. So Trump is at the moment is in a bit of limbo, what to do, But his statement last night was quite convincing. He tried to strengthen the American people, American economy under his democratic leadership, and from there we may see his plan of action. This is something we do not yet. He didn't talk about, for example, U.S. military bases overseas. He didn't talk about the Korean Peninsula. He didn't talk about the peace and security and sovereignty. He behaved himself last night, but he made the world guessing in the dark where America is going.
It's very different than his inauguration speech back in 2016 when he was all in fire. But this is a very different and demure Donald Trump that we see right now. But hopefully that he's going to choose a minister or a defense chief that knows ASEAN countries, especially right here in Indonesia. And of course, you were also mentioning about U.S. and China's tensions, especially in trade and security. Bapak Reza, we will unravel more and discuss more in regards to that. So discussion's getting more interesting, definitely with Bapak Reza's insights. And we will take a short break right now, Tom. And so with that said, don't go anywhere. Stay tuned right here on the C Morning Show, only on C Today. We have more discussion in regards to Donald J. Trump as the 47th President of the United States of America. We'll be right back.